Thank you for getting Floor and Ceiling to 100 subscribers in just about a month. We are just getting started. And today we're going to be breaking down someone who I think would be in the conversation for top pick in any other draft. And that is none other than Stanford's Ziaire Williams. This is Floor and Ceiling. Let's break him down. After being the best player for a stacked Sierra Canyon High School team, Ziaire Williams committed to Stanford and became their highest rated recruit ever. So far this season, he has shown why he was widely lauded as a 5-star prospect. Williams is ideal size for a wing in today's NBA at 6'8" with a 6'10.5" wingspan. Although he is only 186 pounds, Williams has definite triple threat potential and should be looked at as a prospective top 5 pick. The main thing that makes Williams such an appetizing prospect is his offensive potential at 6'8". Williams moves really fluidly around the floor and is legitimately able to create his own shots off the dribble. Williams finds it easy to rise into his shot after a few dribbles. His high release point at 6'8" makes it complicated to block him, but he is capable of making shots in defenders' faces anyways. Williams' shot extends out to the three-point line, which is a necessity for a wing in today's NBA. There are times where Williams pulls up from deep and has you thinking that he's taking a bad shot, but his sheer ability and advanced footwork at his size makes it a good shot. Williams is very skilled at creating separation off the bounce, tending to get to the shot he wants when he wants. Look at the amount of space he generates for himself off this step back. However, there is a reason why Williams' shooting percentages are so bad. He is shooting below 40% on 2s and around 32% on 3s. Even if Williams is generally able to create the shot he's looking for, it doesn't mean he should look to create those shots. What I mean is that Williams lives off tough jumpers. There's a big weight to score on him for this Stanford team, but he also has to improve his shot selection. Yet, it is important to mention that Williams' shooting percentages were really hurt by a terrible early season stretch, especially from beyond the arc. Williams shoots 84% from the free throw line, a good shooting indicator, and his mechanics are not bad at all. It also depends on how you look at Williams' self-creation in terms of projection. For now, I choose to see a 6'8" wing who is playing for a solid, but not great team that can already create his own shot at a high level, and of course the ball needs to go into the net more often, but I'll be on the lookout for that as the season goes on. One area that I think Williams has potential in and hasn't been used a whole lot at Stanford is his shooting off the ball. As I said, Williams is reliant on difficult shots too often, be that his fault or part of his team's creation problems. I would love for Williams to get more of these easy threes more often, which is something that I think will happen in the NBA when he plays with higher caliber creators. But a similar scenario plays out with Williams' spot-up shooting and his pull-up shooting. Everything looks good, but the ball isn't falling just yet. I'm optimistic that this should not be discouraging though. Williams has a compact up and down jumper. He holds his follow-through, and he is always ready to shoot the ball. I think his numbers will definitely improve in time. The main thing that does concern me about Williams though is his complete lack of physicality. Williams has narrow shoulders and is only 186 pounds, which to give you an idea is less than the likes of Kevin Huerter or Brandon Ingram in the NBA. There is no question that Williams will have to put on weight and muscle mass to not get tossed around at the next level. Right now, his inability to attack the basket aggressively is a huge blemish on his current skill set. Williams always shies away from contact. He will back down in transition or when he gets downhill, preferring to toss up half-hearted floaters or jumpers than getting into the opposing big man's chest. On the rare occasion that Williams doesn't totally look to avoid contact, he is unable to finish through or over people. His lack of strength plays against him for sure, but it's also worth noting that Williams started the season with a banged up knee that might be limiting his athleticism. At 6'8", Williams has the advantage of being able to see over opposing defenses when it comes to passing. He is fairly decent at finding Stanford's bigs with quick overhead passes that generate buckets, free throw opportunities, or scoring chances for someone else. Williams does not get rushed with the ball, and he can definitely be a plus passer when he is locked in. His work in the pick and roll also gives me hope that Williams can one day be a secondary ball handler in the NBA. Williams is patient using screens. He waits until the right moment to draw two defenders and then dishes off the ball for an assist. Williams can make passes through tight spaces and has improved his playmaking over the course of the season. He even had a triple-double with 10 assists against Washington. I like this pass here, where Williams fakes with his head that he's going to pass it out to the three-point line, only to find Oscar da Silva with the bounce pass on the roll. However, I mentioned that Williams has to stay locked in. That is because he can make avoidable mistakes passing the ball. For Williams, this comes mostly in terms of accuracy. He isn't making the wrong reads most of the time, but he can be too relaxed or sloppy. Williams averages nearly 3 assists per game, but also 3.5 turnovers. Obviously, he has more turnovers than assists, which is frustrating because there's no reason this should be the case. Defensively, Williams is very good at using his length. In fact, I actually think that this might be one of the more underrated parts of his game given his offensive potential. Williams knows that he is long and is able to leverage his wingspan. It sounds like such a simple thing, but not many players are able to do that. Williams can come up with deflections, steals, and blocks. He times himself well, aware that he is always operating with some margin because of his length at over 6'10". Williams is also good at containing guards, enveloping them using his outstretched arms and using his mobility to keep up with them even at 6'8". Stanford has actually had Williams defending guards a lot of the time, which I'm not sure will be the long-term scenario for him in the NBA because I think he'll play the 3 or the 4, but he has done alright. Williams can slide with smaller players, especially if he gets down in a stance. Williams can shift his hips from side to side, and if you watch him over a full game, there's times where he will get particularly motivated on D and really lock in. Another overlooked part of Williams' game on the defensive end of the floor is his team defense. Williams can be a smart defender, knowing when to rotate and how. He doesn't have to be hasty or wild, cognizant that his height and length will disrupt Stanford's opponents. Here, against Colorado, he comes over for a big block at the basket. But even when he doesn't get a block, like here against Utah, Williams makes the right move as the low man by stepping up and making himself big to avoid a bucket at the rim. Something that popped out to me on tape was Williams' intelligence in 2v1 situations. Here, he closes out perfectly under control, knowing where the pass is going to land. Williams then goes over to the corner shooter and doesn't let him get his shot off either. Against Alabama, Williams is once again playing 2v1. He does just enough, stunting for a split second to make the shooter hesitate, not letting him pass to the corner, and putting him off long enough for a miss. Smart stretches like that are why it's frustrating to see Williams' lack of defensive discipline that has continuously appeared throughout the season. Williams will pick up bad fouls on right rotations, such as in these two clips. Or here, Williams gives up the and one on a deep three-point attempt. Williams does the same thing here against Alabama. He's already out of position closing out, but then makes his mistake even worse by coming back and fouling the shooter. For Williams, I think it might just be a matter of being totally focused for every single second he's on the floor. He cannot drift in and out of games and expect to be rewarded offensively. Williams had a particularly snoozy performance on defense against Oregon State. Halfway through the first half, Williams doesn't pick anybody up off a Stanford basket. It's only when he gets back to his half of the court that he realizes something is up. In the second half, Williams yet again doesn't pick up anybody in half-court defense. He concedes an open corner 3, and Oregon State take the lead. This lack of focus sometimes pops up when Williams is guarding drives. As we saw before, he clearly has the means to do well in these situations, but there are times in which Williams will open his body up and let his attacker drive right past him. I'm not going to shy away from it. I think that Ziaire Williams is one of the most naturally gifted guys in this year's draft class. And if we were to bring him back even a year into the 2020 draft, there's a very, very real chance that he goes top 1. However, in this year's top-heavy class, I think he will probably have to settle for maybe even a pick outside of the top 5, which is understandable, but whoever gets him will be getting a star in the making, in my opinion. And I'm pretty confident on this, despite his poor shooting percentages, defensive lapses, and improvements he still has to make in terms of his passing. Because at 6'8", his ability to create separation and get his shot off in the way he does with his footwork, his high release point, and his fluidity is uncanny. Not to mention that I think his passing has some real upside and that it will be further amplified by NBA spacing. As for his defense, yes, there is a lot to work with in terms of his length, in terms of his height, just his size in general. Like I said in the video, gives him margin for errors. But whichever team drafts him has to make sure that he is coached well enough so that he doesn't make these defensive lapses anymore. Ziaire Williams cannot afford to drift in and out of games. Not because his team can't let him do that, which who knows, maybe they will let him be able to do that depending on where he falls. But just in terms of talent, in terms of pure ability, Ziaire Williams is too good to disappoint himself by drifting in and out of games. So that is what I will be looking forward to seeing from him for the rest of the season, in addition to improving his shot selection, hopefully improving his shooting percentages a little, although like I said, that's not a big area of worry for me, but just in terms of staying locked in terms of staying focused and concentrated at all times whenever he's on the floor. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like down there telling me what you think of Ziaire Williams, telling me if you think I'm crazy for having him as a top 5 guy, top 6, just based on sheer talent. And as always, make sure to like and make sure to subscribe. Thanks again for 100 subscribers, and I'll catch you guys next time.